Impulses, the podcast for potential development. I'm Uli Vogel, founder of Profiling Values. Here, we focus on values that make a difference for a more humane working world. A warm welcome to you, dear listeners. This is episode 0 of our podcast, basically an introduction. Yes, our podcast is called Witty Impulse, the podcast for potential development. And my job here is to give you a first impression. I'm Uli Vogel, founder of Profiling Values. So, what's it all about for us? Well, we all have loads of potential, but probably no one is running at 100% of their potential. And we're unique, each and every one of us. And we have personal values. We have abilities and inclinations. And how best to discover and further develop these, that's one of the things we're all about. And if we take a look at working life, specifically, we basically have 4 pillars that we focus on thematically. First, improving job placements, then pushing forward with staff development, then the topic of leadership, and also how to best bring people together, in other words, team building. Who am I? Well, Uli Vogel, originally from Munich. And, what defines me? What's my role here? For one, I'm the entrepreneur, the owner of Profiling Values. On the other hand, I'm fascinated by value science based on the work of Robert S. Hartman. And this conviction, this passion, has become my motivation to make the working world more human and more successful. I love people, they fascinate me. And I believe we can make the working world more human and more successful if we actually apply values in a targeted way. So, if we look at the podcast concept, what's the purpose? What's the goal? I've already mentioned the purpose. A more human and more successful working world. Addressing and developing the potential we carry within us. My goal is to touch on a variety of topics and, on the one hand, to work out the aspect of values in these topics, but on the other hand, also to really dig deep and offer solutions here, or often to raise questions as well. With the right values in everyday work, you can actually unlock a lot of potential. That means we improve our effectiveness, our efficiency, of course, and also our psychological and mental health. And Profiling Values is also ideally suited for this, or rather, has established certain company values that are ultimately based on our claim. Our claim is explore your potential, and our company values include, first and foremost, individuality. That's exactly what makes each person unique. And, we're all so different that, by working together, we all end up being more successful. So individuality is one of our company values. Then there's trust. Because if we really try to recognize individuality, then, someone opens up, and we always have to earn that trust. Our third company value is orientation. Through our analyses, which we also communicate with trust, we provide people with orientation so they can move towards realizing their full potential. And, our fourth value is competence. So we do this with experience, knowledge, and the right tools. And the fifth company value is precision. Profiling Values is a very, very sharp tool that can actually shine a light very accurately and precisely into the depths. So, and then of course, there are lots and lots of topics surrounding this, Certain tips, perhaps, to help you get by better in your everyday work life. I mentioned mental health, right? That, more enjoyment at work can actually be achieved, How we can manage to go through our professional lives with the right values and, by the way, also push back against the bad ones. So, values are bipolar, there are good ones and bad ones. And it's important to me to create a win-win situation for both employees and employers. That is, when both sides are satisfied and when the company's values and the employee's values overlap accordingly, But we'll also cover general facts about topics like new work, for example, or discuss things like empathy, or even the philosophy of value science here. I've already mentioned Robert S. Hartman, who is very close to my heart here. Who is our podcast aimed at? Who is the target audience? Consultants are an important target group. Coaches, but especially people from HR, human resources, personnel departments, managers, but also just regular employees. So basically, everyone who is active in working life. How did I even come to start this podcast and also found profiling values? Back in the 90s, I wanted to become a diplomat for a long time because I was really interested in international politics. But, I'd say, luckily that didn't work out. I ended up in consulting in the HR field, where I've been working for 25 years now, and I was fascinated by the fact that you can actually measure something as intangible as the personality traits of individuals, and that you can also help develop them further. And so, after 3 different positions as an employee in human resources consulting, I eventually became self-employed, developed profiling values, and for the past 15 years I've been training people in this profiling values system so they can use it to support things like recruitment, personnel development, leadership, and also team building. And since I'm fascinated by people and podcasts have become such a great medium in recent years, I listen to them more and more myself. I thought, together with my whole team, that we should get started with one ourselves. So, what can I maybe say in advance about the content? I'd like to share a few topics, give you a bit of insight here, and briefly outline the format. We'll kick things off with episode 1 by taking a closer look at intuition in personnel decisions. Intuition is important, but be careful, there are a lot of pitfalls lurking there. We'll also be dedicating ourselves to the topic of mental health. We'll take a closer look at empathy as well. Flexibility, integrity, those are some of the topics, but also Robert S. Hartman and his science of values. Maybe a quick word about the format. Basically, it's a monologue. I'll try to keep it to 15 to 20 minutes, but we'll often have guests as well. The profiling values community has grown quite large by now, but there are also interesting people outside of this community, and luckily, I know a few of them. And we'll make sure to include interview formats here as well, which might run a bit longer. How's it all going to work? We're starting off with 2 episodes a week, just to get things rolling and build up a good number of episodes quickly. In the long run, we'll switch to releasing new episodes every 2 weeks. And yeah, where can you listen to it? Mainly on the usual platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, as well as Google Music and Deezer. We're still looking into which other platforms might be relevant for us. So, have I piqued your interest? I'd honestly be really happy if you joined us for a podcast. Wordy Impulse, the podcast for potential development.